I can't see anything down here. Could I get some light on this, please? Ah, much better. Hello and welcome back to Hard On Gaming, where the games are hard and so am I. I'm your host, Big Stiffy, and this is the continuation of my Cogs of the Machine Spotlight. So, we covered a lot of things in the last edition. One of the things we're going to cover now is the mid to end game items, as well as materials. So, one of the things you're probably going to want is a sprinkler. Now, the sprinkler is a pretty useful item. It can be used to hydrate any tilled land. As we can see, it does have an area of effect, which varies based on the speed of the cogwheels. So, if I just get the gyrometer here, we can find out how fast this is going. We see that it only has 40 RPM and 10 strength. Now, I'm pretty sure this is because of the fact that the majority of cogwheels here are wooden. So everything is limited by the speed of these wooden cogwheels. So let's actually just remove a few of them. And as we can see, those are 40, those are 40. Let's remove those. Oh yeah, those are moving a lot faster. Yeah, now it's really spinning. They're all running at 90 RPM and they've got 10 strength. So that's pretty good. Let's actually just get ourselves a hoe and let's fix this farmland. Wow, look at that. So not only does the area of effect increase as the speed of the cogwheels increases, it will also allow your plants to grow faster. So that's pretty useful stuff. It basically bone meals plants for you. And I think it's random, like every tick. It randomly bone meals plants. So there. Pretty useful thing, especially since farming is such an integral part of Minecraft. Unfortunately, I know many people despise it because it just seems like it's a lot worse than what it was before there was hunger in the game. But there you go. Sprinkler is a pretty cool item. Unfortunately, it does also require a supply of water. So you're going to have to figure out some way to supply it with an ample amount of water. You can either put buckets in it, or you can... I think it will actually hook up to anything that uses the liquid API, so Buildcraft pumps should be able to supply water to it. I don't have it on this mod pack, so I can't really test it, but try it out for yourselves. Onward, let's talk about the liquid... Actually, let's talk about the clockwork cane. As we know in the last episode, I talked about the servo table. And let's actually just stop that. We don't need that running. We talked about the servo table and how it's a requirement to make some of the end game items. One of those items is the clockwork cane. Now, clockwork cane is actually a very handy item. We already know about the crank and it's kind of crappy. The clockwork cane is an advanced crank. It can turn a cog at 60 RPM, as well as the fact that it never breaks. So it works just like a normal crank. It'll turn a crank faster. Supposedly. Oh, I guess because that's turned off. Let's flip that. And look at that. That turns it pretty quick. And it's never going to break. So that's pretty useful. Let's just put that cogwheel back. Just because. So yeah, the clockwork cane is your advanced crank. The next thing is the liquid drainer. Now the liquid drainer is kind of like a bucket, except it can hold 10 buckets worth. So if I go over and just find a water source, which I know in the desert it's pretty rare, but here we go, we got some water. This will store 10 buckets. And as long as you hold right click. Right click will actually try to drop liquid into the world, as well as put it into a tank. And this works with any tank that uses the liquid API. It will insert the water into it as if it was using like a Buildcraft pipe. So it's pretty useful. If you hold down shift right click, it will not drop water. So that's to prevent it from ever dropping water in the world. It will only gather water. So I can drop water here and just pick up water there. Pretty simple, but pretty useful. The one thing that it cannot do, however, is you cannot use it like a fluid container. So you can see here we got water bottles in the sprinkler. I cannot place this into it. Oh, actually I can. That's weird. According to the official documents, you can't do that. But maybe that's only for like other items that use the liquid API. But apparently it works for this. Of course, you can also just, right click and it will dump it in. So there we go. A couple ways that you can use it, and it is pretty handy. Just put those back in there. The next thing I can talk about is the fan. So the fan is another machine block. If I put it here, get myself a golden cogwheel, the fan will push entities. So it'll push me away, and it's pretty powerful. The speed of the cogwheel, I'm sure, actually does change how fast it works. And it has a range of up to 8 blocks. And if I use a crank, let's actually just get the clockwork crank here. I can change the direction of it, whatever direction it's facing. And I believe if I do that, no, maybe not. Oop. And I broke it. So if I shift right click, it will face it the opposite direction. So there we go. I thought there was a way, nope, maybe not. Now I think if I change the direction of this, it should actually turn the fan from the push mode to pull. So if I stand over here and come into range, yep, it pulls me right into it. And I can drop an item, and it sucks it right up. So it goes from a fan to a vacuum. That's pretty cool. Now this also works on mobs as well. So it works on mobs, players, and any kind of dropped item. So the next thing I can talk about is the mechanical saw. Mechanical saw is yet another interesting machine. I'm having a lot of trouble just speaking for some reason. So there we go. Mechanical saw. It will damage any items or entities that are pushed into it. I think it destroys... No. It will not destroy entities, or rather dropped items. But if I get myself a sheep egg and push it into it, pretty effective at killing it, I gotta say. Now, if I change direction, whoops, there we go. Let's do that. Now, it does have an interesting feature to it. So if I get a lever and flick it, it extends the saw. That's pretty cool. So let's spawn ourselves another sheep, and no, not quite close enough. There it goes. So that's pretty cool. You can probably figure out quite a few things between using the mechanical saw and the fan. You can try, figure out some mob farms or something like that. However, I did notice that the mobs do not drop any experience points when they die. So they'll drop items, but nothing else, which is kind of disappointing, but whatever. So another thing we can make is the trinket. Actually, I should say another thing we can make is the winding bench, which is going to be a requirement for a lot of things. So let's get rid of that lever, put a gear on it, and we can see it winds up. Kind of reminds you of like old wind-up clocks or wind-up toys, which I guess the majority of people who play Minecraft today probably wouldn't even realize existed. A little bit before their time. But there you go, it's a wind-up machine. It winds up any items that you put into it, which is going to be a lot of things that you're going to be making. So we'll move on to that next. The wind-up trinket. This is basically a battery for wind-up power. If we put it in there, we can see that it gradually begins to charge up. And you can see it says so much out of 1000 WE, which is just wound energy, I guess is what it is. So one of the things you can do with this, if you don't have the winding bench, you can actually charge up the wind-up trinket in your hotbar just by doing this. However, this does rapidly deplete your hunger. So as you can see, my hunger is just going like right out the window. So a wind-up bench is definitely the preferable method to charging that. And the trinket will power any items that you make. So the items that we're going to be covering next are pretty much the end game of this mod. And a couple things I forgot to talk about. I'll talk about the wooden box in a moment, but there's also a steam container. I should have covered this when I talked about the steam power. The steam container you can put into a pressure tank and store steam. And this will build up steam it's basically a steam battery. You can also use this to just store steam for later in case you run out of fuel. You can put it back into the pressure tank and it will dump whatever steam is contained in it into the internal buffer. So there you go. But since there are no items other than the steam powered stuff, like the steam motor and the steam tank, those are pretty much the only things that you can use the steam container for. There's nothing else that would be able to use them. And I have checked, the steam power from this mod is not compatible with other mods, nor are other mods compatible with the steam power in this mod. So if you have Flaxbeard steam power or if you have Railcraft, they are not going to work with this mod. It uses a different kind of steam or some kind of transfer system that just does not translate. Okay, on to the special items. The first thing I'll cover is the Clockwork Pickaxe. This is a pretty cool item. The Clockwork Pick has the efficiency of a diamond pickaxe and a diamond shovel. So let's get it charged up a little bit. Now, it has a few different features that make it unique from a diamond pickaxe, aside from the fact that it can be used as both a pickaxe and a shovel. So let's just take it out of there. And let's see. So if I use it on sand, it's pretty quick. If I dig down and get to stone, it's pretty quick on stone. So that's pretty cool stuff. Actually, because I was in creative mode, probably didn't matter. It's a little bit slow on sand for some reason. I think it's a bit slow on dirt too, but there you go. Oh. Ah, crap. So I got another mod in this mod pack, which is actually interfering with this. No matter, one of the special features of the Clockwork Pickaxe is if you right click, it will launch the head. And it will dig anything in its path, or at least try to. And it will return to the pickaxe when it's done. Now this can be pretty useful because it shoots the items towards you. You can use it to mine things that are just out of reach. Say you were in the nether and you just had to mine some glowstone, but you couldn't reach it. Well, that's fine. You just fire the pickaxe head up into the air, and eventually it'll reach it. At least within a certain distance. I think it has a limited range of maybe 8 blocks or so. And it does work on all types of stone and dirt and sand and gravel. Now, if you right-click and fire it, you can actually click right-click to return it early. So that basically just tells it come back faster. So there you go. That is the Clockwork Pickaxe. Let's put that in there. And let's move on to the Pounding Hammer. Now the Pounding Hammer is kind of like the Stone Pounder here. It functions much in the same way, actually. So the Pounding Hammer has the efficiency of an iron pickaxe or an iron sword. So it can be used as a weapon against hostile mobs. And of course, it does have a special ability. So if I right-click, it charges up the hammer. And once it's fully charged, it will release damage based on the time it was charged up for. So at maximum charge, it should one-shot any kind of mob in one hit. And it will also instantly dig anything that is placed in front of it. So if I do this, it should break it. And it does, which is good. The other thing is, if I use it on cobblestone, which I might have gotten rid of. I probably did. I think I can make this back into cobblestone. So, yeah. Let's make some cobblestone, place it down. Now, if I use it on cobblestone like this, it'll give me rocks. And it will work the same way on ore as it does with the block version. So if I put any ore in front of it, it will smash the ore and give me ore fragments. So that's a pretty useful tool. So let's put that back and move on to the next. The next item is the portable fan. Now, of course, this one also works much like the fan in the block form. The portable fan can push or pull entities. If you right-click, it will push. If you shift right-click, it will pull. It works on mobs, players, and items. So if I put an item there, and oop, I think I blew it all away. There it is. I'm not sure if this has the same range on it. Yeah, it still seems to have a range of about 8 blocks. If I pull it... Oh, it's run out of charge. Ran out of charge pretty quick. So let's demonstrate the use of the trinket. Since this can be used to charge up your tools, you have to charge them up in a crafting grid. And this will completely deplete the Windup trinket. So now I can use it to pull this item towards me. If I shift right click, there we go. And of course it will work the same on mobs. So let's move on to the portable saw. If I charge that up a little bit about the portable saw is that if you right click, it will launch the saw blade. And that's pretty cool, I know. I've had a lot of fun playing with that. It damages every mob in the path of the saw blade when you launch it. So it's kind of like a penetrating projectile. And of course it does return to the saw blade holder when it's done. A few other things. It stops on a non-wood block but keeps spinning to deal damage. So if I just toss it there, you can see it just spins in place. And anything that walks into it will subsequently get hurt. So if I get a zombie egg and just spawn one in, you can see that it repels the zombie as well as does damage. So let's get a few. It should go through the two of them, and I think it did. It was kind of hard to demonstrate there. But there you go. The other useful thing about the portable saw is that it tries to follow the path of wood blocks. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go find a tree and demonstrate this. Okay, so here we have a nice looking birch tree. Now it's always kind of a pain to chop down the whole tree, and that's why a lot of different mods try to rectify that problem by having the whole tree come down when you break the bottom block. Now, the portable saw blade will try to follow the path of the wood block to the next one. So if I fire it at the bottom block, you can see it starts to climb its way up the tree. And once it's done, it just comes right back. That's pretty cool. That's gotta be one of my favorite things in this whole mod, is just the portable saw, because it is just so fun to watch the saw blade just dart around like that. And of course it is fun to use on mobs as well. So back to our little testing area. The next thing we want to talk about is another really fun item. And this pretty much is the end game item of this mod, the Rivet gun. Now the Rivet gun, as you can imagine, acts like a gun, and it shoots rivets. So there's quite a few different rivets that you can use as ammunition. You can use iron rivets, brass rivets, gold rivets, and rusted iron rivets. Each one has a particular quality to it. The iron rivet will deal 4 hearts of damage, or 8 hit points. The brass rivet will deal 6 hearts of damage, or 12 hit points. The gold rivet deals as much damage as the brass rivet, but it has a penetration ability. So whatever mob that you shoot at, it will penetrate that mob and go to another mob behind it. So if you just have a swarm of zombies coming to you in a conga line, that will take care of them. The next thing you have is the rusted iron rivet, which deals as much damage as an iron rivet, but has a unique ability that it causes poison to whatever it hits. So if I give myself a few of these, let's see. Yeah, give myself lots of those. Let's spawn in some zombie pigmen, since they won't burn in the daylight. And it will use whatever rivet is first in your inventory. So let's use iron. So about 4 shots can kill a zombie pigman. Let's see what a brass rivet can do. Should be significantly less than that. Just 2 shots. Fantastic. Let's try gold. And let's... can you not move for a moment? Yeah! 2 in 1 shot. Look at that. So that's a pretty good example of that. And of course it has no charge time to it, as well as the rivets not being affected by gravity. So it's far better than any bow could be. And now the rusted rivets. Do you get poison? Huh. I guess they don't get poisoned. That's weird. Alright, let's try a spider. Maybe a spider gets poisoned. Hopefully. Ooh, you're a big one. Are you poisoned? You don't look poisoned. What the hell's going on? Well, that's kind of disappointing. But rest assured, the rusted iron rivets are supposed to cause poison. So, there we have it. That is pretty much everything in the mod. One thing I forgot. The wooden box. Now, I did kind of save this for last, because as you can imagine, once you start getting all these endgame items, the portable fan, the rivet gun, the pounding hammer, the liquid drainer, and the clockwork pick, portable saw, and all your rivets, you do start to get a little bit overburdened with the amount of space they take up in your inventory. Well, the solution to that is the wooden box. It's a pretty simple crafting item. You simply open it up, and store all your stuff inside. It has as much storage space as a vanilla chest, a single chest. Unfortunately, the downside of this is that it does take damage as you use it. So for every time you open it, it will take a little bit of damage. You can see it's already down to 9 durability out of 10. So you can only open it and close it 10 times, which is a little bit unfortunate. And once you've used up all that durability, it will break. And once it breaks, it spills all your items on the floor in a nice neat pile. So there you go. That is the Cogs of the Machine mod. I really like the mod. I think a lot of the things in it have been very well done. I love all the tools that it's implemented. It's just a lot of fun. I like it. And I like the fact that the progression is pretty straightforward. You pretty much have to go from the Stone Age using wooden gears, pendulums, and a foundry to using metals, steam generators, pressure tanks, steam pipes, and steam motors to really start producing a hefty amount of power for all your mechanically powered goodies. It's just a really great mod. I love everything about its design. But the progression path especially is just, I can't see it being done any better than how they've done it. So there you go. That's it for this spotlight. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something new. Maybe you'll try it out. I hope you do. So until next time, take care, Internet. I will see you in space.